World Showcase is one of my favourite areas of Walt Disney World. Built to be a sort of permanent World's Fair, with 11 pavilions representing the cultures and cuisines of different countries of the world, World Showcase has so many amazing places to explore. In today's video, we're exploring World Showcase in EPCOT. This impressive Aztec pyramid marks the Mexico Pavilion. But it's not just the outside that's impressive, the inside is a wonder too. It's got a marketplace, it's got a Three Caballeros Grand Fiesta Tour ride, and it's got a restaurant. Let's take a look inside. The centerpiece of the Mexico Pavilion is the incredible Aztec pyramid, inspired by the Temple of the Feathered Serpent in Teotihuacan. The exterior section of the pavilion has several restaurants: La Hacienda de San Angel, La Cantina, and La Choza de Margarita. You can also catch performances by Mariachi Cobre. This is inside the pyramid. Impressive, eh? Nice Mexican market scene, plenty of stalls, you can buy some good souvenirs here. I think there's a tequila bar there as well. And say the Grand Fiesta Tour is a ride in here, it's a boat ride, takes you through a Mexican theme ride. Restaurant at the back has great views, and you can see another pyramid inside the volcano. Overall, it's really one of the most atmospheric locations in the entire Walt Disney World. Definitely do not miss the Mexico Pyramid when you come here. This is the Norway Pavilion. Of course, the main attraction in the Norway Pavilion is the Frozen ride. Either use your lightning lane on that, or if you're going to go on it without a lightning lane, make sure you queue early. It's a really nice Norwegian village setting here around the ride. At the front of the pavilion, there's a nice Norwegian stave church, and the pavilion actually carries on around the church. Around the other side, there's a statue of legendary Norwegian marathon runner Grete Waitz, and some other areas that are worth seeing as well. The Stave Church is inspired by the Gold Stave Church and the Norwegian Folk Museum in Oslo. EPCOT's version also houses an exhibition on the Norse gods. In Norway, you can eat at Akershus, a princess-themed buffet restaurant, and the Kringla Bakery. The China Pavilion is built around a beautiful Chinese temple and some really nice gardens in front of it with a good water feature. And there's quite a lot to explore in the pavilion if you go further back. Inside the temple itself, there's a display relating to Disneyland Shanghai. There's also a film, Reflections of China. So it's a pretty good pavilion to take a while to walk around and see what there is to see. The main circular temple is a replica of the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvest in Beijing. Just outside the temple, there are miniature sculptures of the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac. Even if you're not planning on watching Reflections of China, you should take a look inside the temple because the tiling work is incredible. The German pavilion at EPCOT comes in the form of a pretty little square, nice clock tower, scene and a fountain in front. But the real star is the beer garden. This is an all-you-can-eat German buffet, and it is absolutely superb. In addition to the food, there's a German umpire band that plays some of the time, accordion, trumpet, and bass, drums, and also a superb exhibition of bell ringing. It's really nice. The setting is nice as well. It's like a terrace where you eat your food. There's a fake autumn tree and water wheel. It looks like a outside in Germany at night. It's really well done, and it's one of the best pavilions here at EPCOT.
Did you know the Germany Pavilion was supposed to have a ride? The planned location of the Rhine River cruise is marked by a mural at the back of the pavilion. The pavilion's architecture is inspired by the Bavarian region of Germany, and in particular, the town of Rothenburg ob der Tauber. There are a number of shops selling everything from beer to teddy bears, and of course, the Caramel Couche bakery. Next to the German pavilion, there's a model train set, which is worth a look too.
Italy is another great pavilion in EPCOT's World Showcase. We're standing here on a bridge which obviously represents Venice. There's a tower there that is in St. Mark's Square in Venice. That's a great depiction. There's a palace as well, other things related to Venice, and some great Italian buildings we're going to take a look at down there further back into the square. So as we always say, look at the stuff at the front, but make sure you don't miss the stuff behind as well.
As I said, the Italy Pavilion mainly takes its inspiration from Venice. On the waterfront you'll find gondolas, and as you enter the pavilion you can see replicas of the Doge's Palace and St. Mark's Campanile. Italy is a great pavilion for food. There's Tutto Italia restaurant, Via Napoli pizzeria, and the new Gelateria Toscana ice cream stand.
This is the American Pavilion in EPCOT World Showcase, and the main draw here is an audio animatronic combined with film presentation that tells the history of America. It's well worth seeing. Also gets you out of the heat for half an hour. Now also, they have live bands on here. They've just had Simple Plan playing live, a big crowd, really enjoyed it. And I'm looking on the screen now, Living Colour are actually playing here, and Wang Chung as well on different dates. So keep an eye on the schedule if you're coming here to EPCOT.
The main building at the American Adventure is inspired by Independence Hall in Boston. There isn't too much to explore here, but if you're a barbecue fan, you might like to try one of the sandwiches at the new Muppets-inspired Regal Eagle restaurant.
This is the incredibly impressive Japanese pavilion at World Showcase in EPCOT. This is one of my favourite pavilions simply because of the views from here and the structures here. You won't be able to see this. Obviously the wooden temple that we're in, we'll get a shot from the front soon. But look at this wooden temple behind me here, absolutely fantastic. Then look over there, there's a beautiful water garden and bridge over it and bridges at the back. And even then, do not miss this, there's a fortress in the background over there, and you can walk over the bridge and into the fortress. There's a shop underneath. We're going to go there soon. This is a really impressive pavilion.
The Japanese pavilion is truly one of the highlights of World Showcase. The castle at the back is inspired by Himeji Castle, and the temple towards the front of the pavilion is a replica of the Horyuji Temple in Nara. As you enter the interior sections of the pavilion via the castle, The drawbridge will take you past an impressive moat and a tall stone wall. Inside is Mitsukoshi, a famous Japanese department store.
Wander a little bit further into the Japanese pavilion and you get this absolutely beautiful water garden and series of bridges.
Also, don't forget to look at the Torii Gate on the lagoon.
One of the best pavilions in EPCOT is the Morocco Pavilion. As well as having a really stunning replica of a minaret, it's got all these side streets that you can wander through. Some really interesting stonework and buildings to look at.
The Morocco Pavilion is truly an architectural wonder. Endless archways, market stalls and minarets transport you to the streets of Marrakesh. And it is no wonder that it's so impressive, considering the Moroccan royal family sent artisans over to EPCOT to help design the pavilion. The centrepiece minaret is a replica of the Koutoubia minaret in Marrakesh, and the pavilion's main entrance archway is a stunning copy of the Bab Boujaloud in Fez. Speaking of Fez, another area of the pavilion that you won't want to miss is the Fez House, an open-air building with stunning columns and mosaics. France is one of the more popular World Showcase pavilions. The Eiffel Tower replica stands at the back of the pavilion, with the fountain at the entranceway inspired by the Fountain of Warsaw in Trocadero. The French pavilion has a lot of food on offer, from table service Chef de France and Monsieur Paul to the Artisan de Glace ice cream shop, and my favourite, Les Halles Boulangerie Pâtisserie. The French pavilion was expanded in 2021 to add a new ratatouille area. There's a new restaurant, La Crêperie de Paris, and of course Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, a 3D trackless family ride that sees you shrink down to the size of a rat and help Remy escape from Chef Skinner. The ride is an exact replica of the one in Disneyland Paris, down to the dual French and English soundtrack, and it is a not to be missed attraction in my opinion.
British viewers may want to know how they represented the UK here at the World Showcase in EPCOT. Well, obviously they've got the High Street pub here, across from what looks like Hampton Court, but of course it's all got to be squeezed in a small place. There's also the Yorkshire County Fish Shop, which makes really good fish and chips, and something looks a little bit more Shakespearean and Elizabethan down there. There's plenty to look at.
The UK Pavilion is mostly made up of shops and dining locations, including the Rose and Crown pub. If you're looking for more than a drink, you can also have a table at the Rose and Crown dining room, which serves British pub classics such as shepherd's pie, bangers and mash, and of course fish and chips. If you're looking for a place to escape the crowds on a busy EPCOT day, head to the back of the UK Pavilion, where you'll find some beautiful gardens with lots of benches.
This is the Canada Pavilion. It's absolutely beautiful. There's the Le Cellier Steakhouse here, which is one of the great restaurants, but the area in front of it is absolutely stunning. See the lake here. Because it's part of the Flower Festival, they've got some geese here in topiary form. Now, there's always some scaffolding. We always say this, whenever you go anywhere in the world, there's always one of the monuments in the cities that you visited that's covered in scaffolding. We've just found out today that the Canadian section is Disney's version of it. but it's a really good depiction of the building that's the real building in Quebec City. And you can actually walk through from the front into the back area here and see a waterfall, and it's really worth visiting. So don't only look at the buildings from the front at EPCOT, go and see what's behind. Let's go and check it out. It's a really nice area here in the waterfall behind the Canadian Pavilion, but it's a real shame because obviously part of the area is under redevelopment. Normally you can go up there and there's a street scene that's like a street in Quebec City. It's really nice. So if you come here and the development's complete, it's definitely worth going up there and seeing that. But this waterfall is pretty good on its own. Look at that. And of course, Canada is one of 4 places in the World Showcase where they have a special film dedicated to the country. In this case, it's Canada Far and Wide.
Canada is a great place to end your trip around the world. The Hôtel du Canada takes its main inspiration from Chateau Laurier in Ottawa. It's a beautiful centrepiece to this serene pavilion.
So that's the end of our trip round World Showcase, and now I'm enjoying a nice, well-deserved frozen margarita from the stand outside one of my favourite pavilions, Mexico. Now what I would say is if you want to visit World Showcase, and you should because there's some terrific buildings there, you probably could do it in one day, but being honest, you're probably going to need 2 days if you want to see the front of the pavilions and walk to the back in most of them, because there is a lot to see. All countries are worth visiting, but if you want my pick of the favourites, just in case you haven't got enough time, I think Mexico with its iconic pyramid and inside market and boat ride, Japan with its wooden temples and magnificent water features, and Morocco with its minaret and back streets and market, they're the 3 I would pick. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed our guide to the World Showcase at EPCOT, and have a great time if you visit Walt Disney World.